All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something you've probably done 1,000 times without a second thought. We're going to see what really happens in the cloud when you click a single simple button. So let's follow that click and see where this high-speed journey takes us.
I mean, have you really thought about it? You click a button, maybe grab a sip of coffee, and boom, a perfectly formatted report just lands in your inbox. It feels like magic, right? Well, it's not magic, but it is a brilliant, super fast automated process.
And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to trace the path of that request from your initial click all the way to that final email. But before we dive into the how, let's talk about the why. Why do we even need a system like this in the first place?
Well, before all this cool automation, there was the giant headache of doing all this stuff by hand. For anyone who's ever organized an event, this was a massive pain point. You know what I'm talking about, right? It doesn't matter if it's a huge conference or just a backyard barbecue, you're juggling spreadsheets, tracking RSVPs, trying to figure out who's actually coming. It is a total chore.
Oh yeah? It's so slow. You're just copying and pasting the same information over and over, and it's just so easy to make a typo or accidentally delete a row. It's basically a recipe for disaster. There just had to be a better way.
And of course, there is. And that's the absolute beauty of the system we're looking at today. It takes that whole manual, error-prone mess and boils it all down to a single, elegant click.
And that's the whole point, right? The goal here is to completely automate the reporting and just make event tracking way, way better. It's all about taking a tedious human task and handing it off to a perfectly designed system. So, how on earth does it work?
Okay, so let's meet the team. Now, this isn't a team of people. It's a team of specialized cloud services that spring into action and work together flawlessly, all triggered by your one little click.
So to really get this, you got to meet the players. First up, you've got the API gateway. Think of it as the system's front door. Then there's AWS Lambda, our specialist worker, who does all the heavy lifting. All the data lives in Amazon DynamoDB, which is like a super organized digital filing cabinet. AWS Code Commit is the library where we keep all the official templates. And finally, Amazon SCS is our automated postal service that sends the email.
Okay, the team is all here. Let's kick off the journey. The very first mission is to find and gather every single piece of attendee data for one specific event. So your click hits that front door, the API gateway, carrying a unique ID for the event. The front door doesn't mess around. It immediately passes the job to our specialist worker, Lambda. And at this exact moment, Lambda's only purpose in the entire universe is to complete this one task. No distractions, just pure robotic focus.
So where does our specialist go to get the info? It goes straight to DynamoDB, our digital filing cabinet. But, this isn't some dusty old cabinet in a basement. This is a super high-tech database built for one thing: unbelievable speed.
Now this is where it gets really cool. How does it find everything so fast? Well, it uses a clever two-part address. First, it uses what's called the Partition Key to go straight to the main folder for that event. Then, once it's in the right folder, it uses the Sort Key to instantly grab every single file that's labeled with an Attendee tab. It's just incredibly efficient. And that right there shows you the power of a really well-designed database. There's no fumbling around, no slow searching. Lambda just asks, hey, give me all the attendees for Event 123, and DynamoDB delivers the whole list in literally a fraction of a second.
Okay, so our specialist worker has all the raw data. Mission accomplished? Not quite. Now it's time to turn that pile of data into something clean, useful, and get it into the hands of the event organizer.
And this part is just as slick and automated. Lambda takes all that raw data and neatly organizes it into a nice, clean CSV file. Then it zips over to the Code Commit library to grab the official email template, attaches the new report, and hands the whole package off to the SES Postal Service to be sent on its way.
So what does the organizer actually get? A simple, clean report with just the important stuff. Each attendee's email, name, their RSVP status, and a couple of other key IDs for tracking. It's everything they need with zero manual effort.
Now that is a great question. Because a truly great automated system isn't just about what it does when everything goes right. It's about how it handles itself when things, inevitably, go wrong.
For instance, what if a request shows up at the front door, but, oops, it's missing the event ID? Does the whole thing just crash and burn? Nope. The system is smart. It recognizes the mistake, makes a note of it, and just sends back a polite message that says, sorry, I can't work with this. This is huge because it keeps the whole system stable and healthy.
So we've seen the whole journey, from that first click all the way to the final email. But the biggest question is probably, why build it this way? And that brings us to the really powerful idea that makes this all possible. It's a concept called serverless.
What's with the big zero? Well, that is the number of servers an event organizer needs to buy or set up or patch or manage for this entire beautiful process to work. Zero. None.
And that's the magic of serverless, right there. Our entire automated team, the front door, the specialist worker, the filing cabinet, they literally don't exist until the exact moment you click that button. They get assembled instantly to do one job, and the very second that job is done, poof, they vanish.
So when you put it all together, the benefits are just crystal clear. First, you get total automation, swapping out all that tedious work for one click. Second, it's incredibly efficient because you're only paying for resources the split second you're using them. And finally, scalability. This system could handle one report today and 10,000 tomorrow, and it wouldn't even break a sweat.
And that kind of brings us to the final thought here. You see how this whole process transforms a total headache into an elegant, simple click. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's the equivalent of that in your world? What's that repetitive, annoying task you do that's just waiting for its own automated team to come along and solve it for good? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this one.